Nusret Gökçe. Once a social media sensation, Salt Bae has become the target of ridicule. From being ignored by Messi at the World Cup to being stopped by security at the door of a post-Champions League final party, the image of a star once celebrated worldwide is now shrouded in criticism. Online, he's seen as a symbol of fame-seeking. Off the line, his chain of restaurants, once considered the epitome of luxury, is shrinking. 5 of his 7 U.S. locations have closed. London has seen profits plummet by over 30%, and Beverly Hills, once his iconic flagship store, has officially ceased operations. At the heart of it all are the never-ending controversies, bills more expensive than a car, accusations of a Hunger Games-like work environment, and ill-timed political decisions that have alienated him in some of his most lucrative markets. And the big question remains, what caused a global phenomenon born from a 36-second salt-sprinkling moment to collapse so drastically? Why did a luxury icon once sought after by DiCaprio, Beckham, and Bruno Mars become a laughingstock on the very stage he built? And what truths have yet to be heard by the public? All will be revealed in this video. You won't just see the fragments reported by the media, but the whole picture where money, fame, and mental health are weighed against the price of maintaining a glamorous but empty exterior. The reasons, decisions, and moments leading to this dramatic sequence will be fully exposed only here in this video. Nusret Gökçe. Looking at the downfalls and scandals of today, it's easy to feel that this was an inevitable end. But to understand why that dazzling brilliance shattered so easily, we have to go back to the beginning. A small kitchen in Istanbul, where Nusret Gökçe, a poor butcher, turned his skills into a performance. In 2017, his 36-second salt-sprinkling video garnered over 16 million views in just days, transforming him from an unknown into a global internet sensation, sending his Instagram account skyrocketing from 0 to millions of followers overnight. The most powerful stars sought out Nusret: Beckham, DiCaprio, Bruno Mars, even Cristiano Ronaldo, who is extremely careful about his personal image, sat at his table, enjoying his gold-plated steak and smiling for the camera. Salt Bae wasn't just selling food, he was selling moments. Each meal was a gilded spectacle, with bills that could reach at least $140,000. After years of being celebrated worldwide, the aura surrounding Salt Bae began to crack from the very thing that had propelled him to the top: an insatiable thirst for the spotlight and a desire to be the center of attention wherever he went. This extreme luxury not only fueled a brand, but also instilled in him the illusion that fame could open every door. And it was this illusion that led to the fateful moment at the 2022 World Cup. Immediately after the final, Salt Bae stormed onto the pitch like an outsider, attempting to take photos with the players and snatch the trophy from their hands. This action was instantly captured by countless cameras. Messi, known for his calm demeanor, avoided him with a cold, annoyed look, and his teammates showed a similar attitude. This moment wasn't just offensive. It was a blatant attempt to cling to fame, using the tournament spotlight to generate hype. Messi's fans quickly took to social media, reacting with harsh comments and ridicule. While Salt Bae's obvious glee only added to the absurdity, his impulsive act not only offended millions of viewers, it sparked an immediate and fierce backlash from fans in the football community. What was once a viral moment of amusement became a serious issue concerning security and pitch control. FIFA quickly intervened. An internal investigation was launched, resulting in a ban on Salt Bae from attending official football events, transforming him from a familiar face at world-class events into an unwelcome figure. How do you feel about his actions at the World Cup? Leave your comments below, and remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Nusret Gökçe. No more lavish parties, no more cameras and flashing lights welcoming him. Only the image of a man standing on the field, forcing a smile while realizing his golden aura is fading. A statement from the governing body stated, "After review, FIFA has determined that some individuals approached the stadium improperly after the closing ceremony at the Lusail Stadium on December 18th. Appropriate internal measures will be taken." This was a turning point. It marked a shift from a respected and welcome figure to a global laughingstock. But what is noteworthy is not just this incident, it is the inevitable consequence of a series of decisions. The way he manages his empire, his image choices, and his relationship with power, money, and fame. After the fall at the 2022 World Cup, do you think Salt Bae's image would remain intact and stop there? No. The looks on the pitch are just the beginning. When the spotlight fades, another question arises. Without those sensational moments, what is he really left with? And it is at this point that those who once supported him, from the online community to the stars, begin to speak up. It's like on your wedding day, some troublemaker shows up and says, "I want to take a picture with you," even though you just want to celebrate with family, right? Look, this was a big moment for the whole team, and now FIFA is investigating why this happened. Well, trouble is finding its way to you, because apparently this Salt Bae guy is very close friends with FIFA president Gianni Infantino. The community erupted in outrage, expressing their views on various platforms. He was like a child trying to blow out someone else's birthday candles. What was he even doing there? He should have been in the kitchen cooking instead. From news outlets to celebrity comments, a wave of criticism has spread. Many famous figures who once happily posed for photos with Salt Bae are now publicly keeping their distance. Some even mock his way of turning meals into ridiculous performances. Several soccer stars have hinted on social media that fame cannot replace respect, as if sending a direct message to the man behind the salt-sprinkling stunt. The fame that once elevated him has now turned its back on him. I actually tried that burger when I was there. It was ridiculously expensive. Did Salt Bae's restaurant pricing story surprise you? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Nusret Gökçe. And once suspicion took root, the cracks became more apparent. Behind the gleaming glass doors of Nusret, once considered the stage of luxury, unexpected stories exploded into public. Bills that raised eyebrows. A meal with a few gold-plated steaks cost as much as a car. The $140,000 figure was no longer a symbol of class, but evidence of empty extravagance. Wait, that Salt Bae guy from the meme has a chain of restaurants. And how much do they cost? When you pay $31,000 to meet Salt Bae but don't eat meat, that's about $8,500. $8,500 to eat at a meme restaurant. What's next? Disaster Girl opening a taco shop? Alien Guy's barbecue? Or Kermit's Tea House? I can't go on like this. And the funny thing is, it wasn't even the real Salt Bae. He hired lookalikes to work at different locations. It wasn't Salt Bae, it was Paprika Bae. Customers started speaking out. Many felt they had been cheated because the shiny gold plating on the meat added no culinary value, only serving as an Instagram prop. The money spent no longer bought an experience, but just a fleeting illusion on social media. What was once called luxury was now exposed, leaving people feeling exploited and disrespected. Amidst this backlash, Salt Bae began to respond. Quality never comes cheap. But as you might expect, the reactions were quite mixed. It's shameful to flaunt this when people around the world are starving. What a fool. While another wrote sarcastically, "You're right, quality never comes cheap, but this one does." If exorbitant bills leave customers feeling betrayed at the table, the inside stories are even more shocking. Behind each gold-plated steak lies not just a gleaming layer of metal, but also the sweat, hard work, and untold stories of former employees. Those who once worked behind the kitchen fire are beginning to share their own experiences. They describe an environment akin to a real-life Hunger Games survival game, where employees never know if they'll be fired during a shift. According to some former employees, they describe a harsh working environment. Reports include management withholding tips, shifts lasting until late at night without overtime pay, and even allegations of passport confiscation. These details have not been independently verified, but they contribute to the controversial picture surrounding the brand. Meanwhile, some restaurant branches have been found to violate food safety regulations or deliberately cut operating costs to the point where customers have to dine in freezing conditions. These experiences stand in stark contrast to the promise of gilded luxury. All of this paints a different picture, a dazzling empire on the outside, but empty on the inside. Almost every health and nutrition expert agrees that ultra-processed food is bad for you. But we are noticing this strange anomaly in the meat-eating community that I want to inform you about. I think you will be very interested in this. Therefore, some researchers have come together to develop a system for evaluating or classifying this ultra-processed food. In a statement, a spokesperson for the Ministry of Health wrote, "We will look into this matter." Representatives for the restaurant did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Complaints, accusations, and exorbitant bills circulating on social media quickly triggered a domino effect. From a luxurious destination for the elite, Nusr-Et began its decline. By July 2025, reports indicated that 5 of Nusret's 7 U.S. locations had been forced to close, including the Beverly Hills branch, once considered an iconic store and a symbol of the brand's luxury status, which officially ceased operations in June 2025. In London, revenue had fallen by more than 30%, clearly reflecting the turning away of customers. A report from industry analytics firm Propel indicated that revenue at Nusr-Et in Knightsbridge had fallen by 31% by the end of last year to £180,000 a week in one of London's busiest and wealthiest areas. Thus, the once gilded, supposedly unshakable empire now reveals its cracks. No longer a luxurious check-in spot, no longer a paradise for superstars. Instead, there are news reports of declining profits, closure announcements, and the cold emptiness of spaces that once shone brightly. These numbers aren't just about business. They are proof of a harsh truth. When trust is lost, money and fame, once considered Salt Bae's greatest weapons, cannot save a crumbling empire. Nusret Gökçe. In fact, the series of closures in the current crisis are not accidental. They are the result of a long-standing rift. A rift not stemming from the steak itself, but from the very companions Salt Bae chose to associate with. Do you remember what happened in 2018? At that time, Venezuela was mired in its worst economic crisis of the decade. The national currency had depreciated by more than 1,000,000%. Millions of people were queuing for hours just to buy a few loaves of bread, and many families couldn't afford milk for their children. And at that very moment, Salt Bae appeared in a video serving a gold-plated steak to President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. According to many international news agencies, this stark contrast sparked outrage amidst Venezuela's crisis. Because of this, the controversies of 2018 have left a deep wound. But to be fair, amidst the waves of criticism, another truth remains. Salt Bae rose from a kitchen, not a boardroom. Many who met him behind the counter still describe a familiar rhythm. His knife follows the grain of the meat. His hand flicks the salt shaker with professional reflex. His love for the craft is what elevated a butcher to the status of an icon. It didn't disappear just because of the public backlash. However, when that love became entangled with money and fame for too long, it transformed. The love for cooking, which had sustained the brand, gradually became a love for the stage, for larger audiences, for harsher lights, where every meal had to be a performance. Money poured in, fame followed closely, and the brand's vitality, sustained by customer trust and the resilience of the team, was stretched to its limit. From that point on, every choice became a performance. A dish doesn't just need to be delicious, it has to be worthy of being photographed. A moment doesn't just need to be polite, it has to be shareable. It was at this turning point that once praised steps became the spark for later falls. His love of the profession gave him the confidence to appear wherever crowds gathered. But when the line between audience and private space blurred, every step risked crossing the line. And so, on those frenzied football nights where all eyes were on the trophy and the stars, the appearance of a famous chef, despite his belief that the audience still loved him, was interpreted differently as an intrusion into a moment that didn't belong to him. From here, the question arises for the next chapter. If love of the stage has overshadowed love of the kitchen, what awaits at the gates of the 2025 Champions League, where the lights are brightest but also coldest for those not on the guest list? After a series of controversies, from his disruptive behavior at the 2022 World Cup trophy presentation to a string of restaurant scandals involving shocking bills and accusations from former employees, Salt Bae's image as a highly sought-after golden chef has faded. His reputation, once associated with heads of state, football superstars, and high society parties, is now shrouded in public skepticism and weariness. The door to his glamorous world is closing, but perhaps Salt Bae himself hasn't realized it. He continues to appear regularly at major events, still drawing the attention of cameras as if his glorious past remains unchanged. And it is this gap between what he thinks he still is and how the public actually perceives him that led to the next bitter moment. In June 2025, at a post-Champions League final party, Salt Bae appeared once again. But unlike the days when he was greeted with red carpets, this time he wasn't welcome. A video quickly went viral. Salt Bae was stopped by security at the VIP area where the players and official guests gathered. Gone are the days of cameras following his every move, sprinkling salt. Instead, there was the awkward scene of a man who once commanded the stage being pushed out in front of the crowd. He quickly defended himself, asserting that he only wanted to meet fans and had no intention of overstepping boundaries. But social media rarely takes time for explanations. The image of the man being blocked at the door became a subject of ridicule, with memes spreading from Twitter to TikTok. For the audience, that moment of being stopped wasn't just a normal action by security, it symbolized something else. Fame was no longer enough to get through the door. Despite rumors that he was kicked out of the event, he insisted he was only there to meet fans. He said, "The rumors circulating on social media that Nusr-Et was kicked out are untrue. In fact, no party took place there. I wasn't even invited to such an event. I was just passing by and saw someone acting inappropriately in the background, which made it seem like something had happened. But the rumor that I was kicked out is completely false. This is an attack on my reputation." International media outlets from The Sun to Diario and newsw.com.au all ran headlines like, "The most embarrassing fall." Newspapers that once published photos of him with Beckham, DiCaprio, or Messi have now changed their tone. This serves as clear evidence of his declining influence. If at the 2022 World Cup, Salt Bae could have come close to winning the Golden Trophy, only to be met with Messi's cold stare, this time the distance is even harsher. Not only did the players turn their backs on him, but the VIP doors slammed shut in his face. That moment is a bitter metaphor. From an icon invited to every lavish party, Salt Bae now finds himself outside the spotlight. And for a brand built on the glitz and glamour of the spotlight, that's perhaps more painful
to being stopped
than
by
any
security
failed
at the door of a
bill.
Champions
The golden
League
glow
after
of
party,
the steak
the image of a star
masked
once
all
celebrated
flaws.
worldwide.
But ultimately, it couldn't hide the truth, that the empire was built on a viral phenomenon, not on lasting quality. Salt Bae, who once transformed a simple salt sprinkling into a global brand, has now become a prime example of the phenomenon of empty, superficial fame. Something flared up like a straw fire, then died down as the audience shifted their gaze elsewhere. But behind the satirical images and sarcastic headlines, there was another story. The story of a poor butcher who gradually found his way into the world, only to be crushed by the very fame he created. Perhaps this is not just a lesson about money, fame, or outward glamour. It's also a reminder that behind the flashing lights, there are still people prone to making mistakes, easily swayed, and sometimes easily lost. The final question remains open. Was Salt Bae someone who knew how to seize opportunities from the start? Or was he simply a man trapped in the golden light he created for himself? The answer probably lies in how each of us chooses to perceive this.